Well, it's been a very long road for some of us, but we're finally here. It's the full review of the View glasses. It's a View review. It's a review. TM. But first, let's take a minute to look back at the good times. So you'll remember from my unboxing, not everything went perfectly with the setup when I couldn't even get the View glasses to pair with the app on my phone, which is actually where like half of the functionality exists. But you guys are breathtaking.
You're breathtaking!
And some of you had experienced very similar things and left some really helpful tips in the comments of that video. And we finally did it after much more playing around than I expect to have in the setup of a product like this. We finally got it paired to the phone and to the app. So since we couldn't look at it in the last video, it only seems fitting that we start with the app in this one. But firstly, in case anyone has similar issues to what I had in pairing the glasses to the app, all you have to do is force close the app, turn Bluetooth off on your phone, open the app again and let the app turn Bluetooth on your device back on, and then go into pairing mode by holding the glasses for 8 seconds, double tapping to enter pairing mode, and then you should be okay. Now, before we get into the individual features of the View app, one thing I will say, despite them having almost 3 years to put it out, they needed to spend a little bit more time just testing the app because it's rifled with just silly little bugs. Nothing that makes it unusable, well, for the most part. It's just missing some kind of optimization, has some silly little UI bugs that you wouldn't expect from a premium product. And a prime example of that is you've used them for the first time, you put them away, you take them out again, you go to put them back on, you expect the pairing process to be nice and simple. It couldn't be further from the truth. The repairing process, I guess it is just all over the place. The View glasses seems to have 2 different Bluetooth receptors in them, one called View Audio, one called View Sensors. So if you just connect to View Audio through your phone's Bluetooth settings, you'll be able to use them to listen to music, but the app won't recognize that you're connected to the glasses. And vice versa, if you only connect to the app to View Sensor, but View Audio isn't connected, then music won't work. The whole process just takes way too much trial and error when you would just ultimately expect to take them out of the case and have them reconnect, right? It doesn't seem like a lot to ask. Okay, but pairing is out of the way, so once you are connected to the View app, what features does it have? First one, called Find My Glasses, emits a high-pitched tone from the glasses and also causes them to vibrate, making them easier to find if you've misplaced them. Part of me, for some reason, thought this was going to be similar to like Find My Phone, and it would kind of show you where they are, but you just need to play a weird game of hide and seek to find them. Then there's a button called Camera. Obviously the glasses don't have a camera built into them. What that does is lets you take a camera on your phone using View's camera software built into their app, which for some reason like super distorts the aspect ratio. If you try and take a selfie, your head is just long and thin. But ultimately what it lets you do is take the selfie by pushing the side of the glasses. But one thing I did notice is the time between you pushing it and it taking the picture is so small that most of the time it would just capture a picture of you with your hand up here or moving it somewhere in between. And there's no settings to change that delay. You know, how digital cameras have done since the early 2000s. Realize I should probably wear these for the review. So to control the glasses, it takes 3 different inputs, either a press, a long press, or a swipe, all of which are customizable from within the app. So the 2 different types of presses can be customized to either audibly tell you the time, tell you your steps and calories burnt, or supposedly launch an assistant on your phone, which it doesn't do, it just bleeps at you. And then of course the swipe can either be used to change songs forward or back, or can also control the volume of music. So as I mentioned, one of those presses can be used to tell you your current steps and calories burnt, which is pretty helpful for some of my fitness-focused friends. But to put the accuracy of this to the test, I put it up against a tried and tested device, the Galaxy Watch. So what I did is put both the watch and the glasses on at exactly 7 AM and took readings from both of them at 10 PM that day And here was the results of both of them. So as you can see, the results are pretty close, which means this feature of the View glasses does seem to be fairly accurate. The only thing it seems to do is either round the numbers up or down, because those numbers seem to be just a little bit too whole. But all in all, not too bad. And lastly, you can check the battery life of your View glasses in the app. So let's get into that aspect right now, because we saw some conflicting reports from other backers on Kickstarter. Some said that they weren't lasting out the day. Okay, fair enough. Other people said that they weren't lasting them 2 hours. And View themselves say they have a 3-day battery life. So which is it?
Baby Yoda. And now that I've got your attention, Baby Yoda. If you're a fan of Pops, then check out Pop in a Box for a huge selection of Pop figures at a great price. Pop in a Box has access to exclusive Pops that can't be found anywhere else. And if you've ever signed up to one of those monthly gamer boxes before, you know your favorite part was receiving a Pop and the rest just went in the trash. Well, Pop in a Box has you covered. You can tailor your monthly subscription to get only the Pops you want, the ones you're interested in, and tell them the ones you've already got. This isn't Pokemon in the 90s. Doubles should not be a thing. Choose from franchises like Marvel, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Disney, DC, Star Wars, gaming, and more, and choose to receive either 1, 2, 3, 6, or for the clinically insane people, 12 Pops a month. For more information on Pop in a Box, check out the link in the description down below.
So in my experience of wearing the glasses, starting the day with 100% battery and intermittently listening to music throughout the day, by the end of the day, I was usually at somewhere between 10 and 20%. When I say intermittently listening to music, I'm talking 2, max 3 hours of listening. And some people will get into later. Part of this could be because of the volume that I had to have them at. So yes, if you're trying to listen to music through them all day, then no, they aren't going to last you out the day. And in terms of View's claim of a 3-day battery life, maybe, if you don't pair them or touch them. No, don't even look at them. Look over there. So as I mentioned, I have been wearing them for a few solid days, which brings us nicely on to comfort. How do they feel sat on your facial area? Now, I know in the unboxing that I said they felt comfortable to wear, and anyone who was complaining about them being tight on their head must just have fat heads. I'm sorry to say that the people who commented on that may just have big heads. And to those people, I sincerely apologize, because dear God, let's face it, I was in no position to comment on the comfort of them after wearing them for 10 minutes while recording a video. But after wearing them for, let's say, like 12 hours, they push down on the bridge of your nose, into these parts of your ears, and obviously where the bone conduction points are that are, let's face it, pushing on your temple. You'll really start to feel it there. It can give you a headache, and when I took them off, it felt like they had permanently indented my skull. So if you'd back these as sunglasses and had planned to wear them intermittently, that would probably be fine. But to my fellow blind people out there, I seriously wouldn't recommend wearing them all day. And a quick side note, as I mentioned in the previous video, this is a 3-year-old prescription. But to fully review these glasses for you, I wore them and gave myself a migraine. It's no big, but if you want to leave a like on the video, much appreciated. Now, one of the first things we mentioned in the unboxing of the View glasses was the cheap quality feel of the case, but that is just cosmetic. It's the functionality of the case that's important, and touch wood, I've had no issues with mine. Every time I put the glasses back into the case, although it's slightly awkward because you have to have the glasses kind of half folded before they go in, and make sure that the connector touches the pins in the case. As long as you put it in correctly and push down so that those pins are connected, the charging should be fine. And even as a test, put them in, shook the case around and opened it up, they were still connected. But again, reading the comments on Kickstarter, I know this wasn't the experience for every backer. Some saying that their case was just dead and wasn't charging the glasses at all. Some having issues keeping the glasses in place, meaning that charging just wasn't happening. But without any further details, it's hard for me to comment on whether that's an issue with their manufacturing of those specific units or human error. But that leads us on to one of the most important aspects of the View glasses, and obviously that's listening to music through bone conduction. So again, we'll go back to when I first unboxed these, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link to it up here. But essentially to test it, we listened to music at 4 different volumes, and I was optimistic. At low volume, the audio wasn't great, but I could still tell what song it was. At 100% volume, obviously they leaked, but we had kind of come to expect that anyway. But an important thing to note is I was sat in a silent room. And I know how most of you live your life, but I wish I was sat in a silent room, maybe with some nice padded walls. But unfortunately, real life is loud. Take a step outside your door, you've got wind, you've got cars, you've got people. Walk into any ordinary office, you've got chatter, you've got phones ringing. There's Karen telling you how she started the Atkins diet again for the 76th time. The point is, if there's any slight level of background noise in the environment you're in, you will have to turn the view glasses up to, in my experience, at least 80 or 90% to actually hear the music properly. At which point, one, you're making a serious dent in the battery life by having the volume so loud, but two, you're making the point of the view glasses essentially redundant, because at 90% the sound leaks. You've essentially turned your silent bone conduction glasses into speakers, which you're wearing on your face. Ultimately, to get the best experience out of the view glasses, you need to be sat by yourself in a silent room. Which, if you're sat by yourself in a silent room, you know what? Just listen to music. But over all of that, if you are sat by yourself in a quiet place and you did listen to music through the view glasses at a reasonable volume, then one thing I will say as a positive is the audio quality was actually better than I had come to expect. I didn't really expect Bone Conduction to deliver as much bass in the audio as what these do. I do, however, only recommend listening to music through them because it was extremely difficult to pick up on things like speech if you're listening to a podcast. So we finally reached the end of our very long journey, and I know a lot of people have been waiting a long time for me to give my opinion of these, and the question we all want answered was it worth the wait? No. They've ultimately overpromised and underdelivered, and that delivery was extremely slow. As a tech enthusiast, it's a fun and gimmicky piece of tech to own, but ultimately for everyday use, it's not functional, which is ironic because their tagline is literally your everyday smart glasses. Not every day if I can help it. They are somewhat of a novelty. Taking them into the office, it was a bit of fun to have people try them on, listen to music, cover up their ears to prove that the music was going directly into their head instead of through their ears. But most people who I let try them on ultimately kind of said the same things. Their first comment was that it wasn't very loud. And once I turned the volume up, everyone else's comments was, but I can hear that. A comment on Kickstarter, which View actually had replied to, kind of sums it up well. Somebody had commented that they had received them, but in comparison, the Bose Alto glasses were of a higher quality. To which View's response was, if we had the budget of $1 billion company, a lot could have been done different with the campaign. So yeah, back in the day, View may have been one of the first companies to conceptualize the idea of bone conduction glasses, along with old school companies like Zungle. But ultimately, if you take 3 years to deliver on a project, at the point of delivery, you're already delivering outdated tech. And yes, bigger companies like Bose will come along and they'll do it better and they'll do it faster. So a massive thank you for joining me on this extremely long journey, and I can only give my condolences for our final destination. If you're a fellow backer of the project, you know, you've got a nice kind of gimmicky reminder that the world of crowdfunding can suck. And if you're seeing this video in the future where these may be available for general sale and you're deciding whether to buy them, just don't do it. But that's a wrap from me on the View glasses. We're done, I'm taking them off. But if you enjoyed the video, you found the review helpful, a like rating would be appreciated. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe to the channel. And as always, I shall see you in the next one.